So I'm here with John today, a social media marketing strategist and co-founder of Alt Chiang Mai, the first co-living and co-working space designed and built for digital nomads and remote workers in Chiang Mai. So thanks for joining us today, John.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank
you for inviting.
Yeah. So can you start by sharing a bit about your background and how your journey in social media content creation began?
Whoa, okay, that was my previous life.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
I had 9 years of working experience in the hospitality industry. This is after I graduated from university. I went back to Hong Kong. I'm not in Hong Kong anymore. And I was in this path of finding, what it means to become an entrepreneur, a business owner. And I dabbled in many things.
Right.
Network marketing.
Yes.
Digital marketing. And while I was working for a startup company, and this is towards like the later years of my soul searching journey, I guess you can call that, I was learning about these social media platforms. And like any startup company, you pretty much have to learn everything yourself. So I came across this app called Periscope. It's a live streaming app, and there was a time that it was a trending thing.
Right.
X, or the previous Twitter, acquired it, and I was actively in that app, learning how to build communities, creating content, try to monetize it. So I think I clocked maybe a few thousand hours of live streaming.
Nice.
Yeah, doing different kinds of content, traveling around the world, interviewing people.
Right.
So it was a good experience.
So you pretty much begin your digital nomad journey while you started that live streaming, like work, right?
Yeah, I like it's a very hard definition. Like it's being a digital nomad is a lifestyle more than anything. So
right.
I guess if you're traveling and working at the same time, you can identify yourself as one. So there were a couple years I was actively traveling around doing content, trying to make money. Didn't make a lot, but
right.
It was an interesting time.
Right.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you spent quite a bit of time in corporate before, so I'm just a bit curious, like what inspires you to quit the corporate and to embrace and pursue the digital nomad lifestyle?
So I'm Gen X.
Right.
So I'm in my 40s right now. In my generation, I think we grow up thinking, study hard, get a good degree, find a decent job, climb the corporate ladder, and hopefully you get good pay, and you're set for life, right? That's many of the Gen X belief.
Not just Gen X, but I think some millennial and some Gen Z might also believe that too. So yeah.
Right, but the majority of the majority of Gen X was still on that path, right? And I think it took me 9 years to realize how it's really not something I thrive. Definitely not something I love, and I weren't successful as well because I wasn't making a lot of money in Hong Kong standard. So basically I was like, okay, I need to pivot, I need to change, and I think I grow up really curious about how to make money myself. So a friend of mine told me about network marketing businesses. Some people call it MLMs, but essentially that was my first journey in terms of understanding what does it mean to be self-employed, or to be accountable for my own effort in terms of making money, because no longer am I employed by a company that pays me a salary on a monthly basis, which to be honest, a lot of people just try to wing it, right? Whereas if you're a digital nomad, you're self-employed, you're really just responsible for your own actions, right? You can't. I don't think there's a way to hack it without putting the effort,
Yeah.
and hopefully getting rewards from it,
Yeah.
right? So yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think of like being a freelancer, digital nomad, is just like you have a lot of freedom. You can travel and do whatever you want, but in some sense it's actually even harder. Like it requires a lot of self-discipline, and also like you need to have the right habits, and it requires a lot of self-motivation basically. You have to motivate yourself to do the work, and so you really have to do something that you're really passionate about. Otherwise it's hard to succeed at. Because you don't have a manager to like kind of push you and like, micromanage your schedule per se. Yeah.
Yeah, for me the transition was definitely hard. But I guess this is also depending on the personality or the upbringing.
Right.
I know young people who are very entrepreneurial when they were young, and
Right.
they never worked in a corporate job, and they're comfortable. They're doing very well.
Yeah.
So case by case.
Yeah. So how's the transition like for you? Like how did you navigate that change from, being in a corporate life, like very, very structured, like, you have a manager, supervisor telling you to do, what to do and what not to do, and then to yourself, like managing everything on your own, and you have to figure out things on yourself.
I struggled a lot. So I think for the first year or so, I was enjoying this freedom. Waking up whenever I can, doing what I think was good enough to make ends meet. And to be honest, there were times that I wasn't making ends meet. So financially, I was struggling for a while, and I then it's more like an exploration.
Right.
You talk to friends. When I was in the network marketing business, I have mentors that really, explain to me what it means, and it took time for me to understand it as well. But essentially, you put in little systems
Right.
in your day-to-day life. For example, okay, you set goals, right? Okay, today you're gonna do 10 things that is related to, work. So you make sure you do those 10 things, right? Or you need to wake up at 8 o'clock so you can go running, right? Am I consistent about it?
Right.
Right. Or maybe I have buddy systems, right? So I have friends who also need to be accountable for their work, so we partner up and say, hey, did you do your stuff today?
Yeah.
Right. So then there's all these little tiny things that I need to change, and also dealing with rejections and failures, which is not something taught or encouraged when you're working or studying.
Yeah, it's in school and
right. So that whole mindset change also becomes important. I mean, knowing is one thing, but experiencing it, feeling shitty about it, and then coming out from it and saying, this is just normal, right? You're not supposed to feel anything bad about rejections. Because I was in sales and marketing businesses, right? So you have to deal with a lot of cold calls or just like appointments that you don't know where it's going to lead. People are going to ghost you. All those kind of experiences that I had a little bit of experience for it.
Atomic habits, setting small goals and daily actions.
I tried reading that book, but I didn't love it. But I get the idea of it.
Right.
So,
Right. And you mentioned network marketing is actually what basically triggered you to make that huge change and leap. Can you break down what network marketing is?
So I think the modern day terminology is affiliate marketing, because essentially there's a company or there's many companies that you can be affiliated with, and you're selling their products. Right? It's as simple as that. Like, you do your own marketing strategy, you build your own personal branding, you sell the products, and you get a commission from it. Right? So from the traditional network marketing businesses to nowadays like affiliates, it's the same idea. But there's another layer with network marketing business where you also can form your own sales team. So essentially, you can make money by selling products, or you can make money by your sales team selling their products, right? And it goes multiple layers, hence multi-level marketing, the terminology. Now, I know in the public world it sounds a little shady. And yes, there are people or companies that are using these systems to do shady stuff, but there's also legitimate companies doing these business model in legitimate ways.
Yeah.
So I was fortunate enough to be in a legitimate company doing it the legitimate way. So I have to say my experience has been positive, and it taught me a lot about doing businesses.
That's awesome. And what led you to decide to settle in Chiang Mai, and how has living here actually influenced your personal and professional growth?
So I met my wife from Hong Kong, but she's from Chiang Mai. So this is 14 years ago, and yeah, when we were dating, I didn't know anything about Chiang Mai, but you know, as we were getting serious, and she invited me to come here, I saw the place, met the people, and was like, this is very pleasant, right? The people are nice, they're chill, and the environment is. This is 14 years ago, right? So. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. So I thought, oh, okay, this is a nice place. And then I came back multiple times. We got married, and 7 years ago, so we decided to move here because we didn't want to have kids in Hong Kong.
Too stressful.
Well, I mean, if you're watching this from Hong Kong, you understand, right? Too expensive, too stressful. Everyone's talking about the housing.
Yeah.
The starting
starting line.
The
yeah.
starting line. Yeah, I am not that type of person. Like, I think some people are really good at, winning. Being top.
Yeah.
Everything is about like, competition. I am not fit for that system.
Yeah.
Or I believe I'm not fit for that system, even though I grew up from that system. And I don't want my kids to be in that system simply because it's not healthy.
Yeah, it's not healthy.
Right, and it's not sustainable. Again, this is my opinion, right? So you don't have to agree to it. But so we wanted to come here and raise our kids in open space, a slower pace of life, cheaper cost of living, more time, and more diversity of people to do different kinds of things.
Yeah, I also noticed that what set Chiang Mai apart from a lot of the other cities in Thailand, like Bangkok or Phuket, for example, is just that it's so laid back and so chill. Everyone here is like, also like into like wellness, taking good care of themselves, and just like very chill and laid back. So give you that kind of vibe.
Yeah, definitely.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And how did your experience as a digital nomad actually shape your entrepreneurial mindset and eventually launching Alt Co-Living? Yeah.
So I think my so-called digital nomad life cycle was rather short. And I had Hong Kong as a base, and I would jump to a different country to do short trips. So over the time span of maybe 2 to 3 years, I would go to many countries. But what I've learned is, the world is bigger than we know of it, because everyone is living in some sort of a bubble, unless, and nomads are also living in some sort of a bubble, but because it's such a bigger bubble with so many people who are so different, right? It just gave me more perspectives of what life can be.
Yeah.
And
it broadened your horizon.
Right, and you start seeing the world through the lens of, people's stories, your travel experiences, and it's very different from, let's say, reading anything from the news about anywhere.
Yeah.
Right, or
the negative
the mainstream
bias.
media biases, or or the lack of transparency of anything,
right?
So when I started to have this idea of building a business here, it was mainly targeting digital nomads and remote workers as a clientele, right? Because I see a trend.
Right.
I see a trend in Chiang Mai that a lot of people don't know about, right? And I'm in a space where there's lacking of that service or products, catering to the digital nomads. And I thought, oh, okay, this could worth a shot. You know, I have experience from hospitality. I have spent some years understanding what it takes to build a business. And I got lucky to have my friend who's also a silent partner to support me financially. And yeah, that was the beginning of Alt.
You mentioned about like the gap. Like, what is the gap that you're trying to fill? Like, is it just like a lack of community or like co-working space that caters to the digital nomads, or?
So co-living and co-working spaces are still very much as its infancy stage. I mean, co-working space, people know about it, right? And a lot of nomads, they like to work in co-working spaces because, you know, there's good furnitures, you know, people like-minded, and as they travel, you know, they tend to find co-working spaces.
Yeah.
But a co-living and co-working space is kind of like an added service to it, which is the lodging facilities. And I thought, hey, if you need a place to co-work, then you might also want to have a place to co-live, right?
Makes sense.
Yeah, kind of made sense. So I think what we're trying to do here as a business is really knowing what are the pain points of digital nomads and really providing the services for them, right? If you talk in business lingo. Convenience, flexibility, right? We operate more of a hotel kind of model, so you can just come in and come out from it. Easier than finding a place, signing a lease, putting deposit, and you know needing to deal with those things when you want to find a place to live for a couple months in a different country or a different city.
Right.
And at the same time, I believe a lot of solo travelers are quite lonely, or they're yearning for companionship, right?
Yeah.
So a co-living space essentially is a place where, you know, you can hang out, you can do events, you can learn from each other, you can build relationships, and it sounds like a thing many nomads would want to experience, right? Now, whether people think it's worth the money, because there is a premium to pay for that, again, it's a case-by-case thing, but you know, now we have 2 properties. We have 57 rooms in total, and we're quite well received. I want to believe the proof of concept is validated.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What challenges did you face like during the process of launching this co-living space, and how did your background like help you navigate them?
So it's interesting because co-working spaces are kind of originated with either real estate people wanting to optimize space usage, or you have startup communities who feel like co-working space is a good ecosystem to foster that community. And I come in thinking there's an element of hospitality that's kind of missing, right? Not that we want to be a hotel, but still, when you're living and working in a space, there needs to be certain standards, right? And those standards are quite different from what an actual hotel is. So just to figure out, you know, the clientele, in this case, the digital nomads, and how they want that experience. It's kind of like a guessing game, because again, it's an industry that's at very early stage, so there's no playbook, you know.
Right.
There's no set benchmarks that you just copy someone else's way and then you say, okay, this is a success formula.
You kind of have to pioneer and
right. So you kind of have to experiment, you know, try different things and figure it out along the way.
Right.
So a lot of times there's a lot of, you know, back and forth asking people's feedback. Hey, what about if we do this? Does this make sense? And
A/B testing.
yeah, and there's a lot of human interactions and communications that's required, right? And people, you know, and this is not a startup company, so we don't have a lot of data. You know, it's more, the data points are more qualitative and more, you'd have to spend a lot of time understanding it. So not the easiest business to do if you want to make money.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have developed quite an impressive personal brand, before you co-launch the co-living space. How do you balance staying authentic while strategically trying to grow your online presence for the company?
How do I balance?
Being authentic and also strategically trying to grow your online presence. Yeah.
So my online presence, it's basically just being myself, right? So I think because I'm an extrovert,
right?
Because I have a sales and marketing background, or because I just naturally like people. This is not difficult, right? I mean, it still took me a while to get used to looking at the camera or, talking to people and all that. But I'm older, so I've spoken with a lot of people when I was doing network marketing. Right. And so, the persona thing is something that I didn't really think much about. It was just, okay, I need to do this. What's the most cost-effective marketing strategy? I'll just brand myself. Take a page from Gary V, and try to do it my way.
What are some of the marketing campaigns that you have tried running to grow your online presence? Yeah,
because we don't have money to begin with.
Right.
Yeah, so it was word of mouth, asking friends to come check out the space, give reviews, and then asking their friends and friends to try. It was very old school and labor intensive.
Right.
Yeah, but I like it that way, so it worked out.
Yeah, it's all about putting in the work and not trying to overthink it too much. What kind of advice would you give to entrepreneurs, who struggle to leverage social media effectively to promote their business or their brand?
Well, I guess it's understanding why they struggle to use social media. Is it the lack of skills and experience because they're not from that background, or is it the unwillingness because they have certain impressions of using social media? Essentially, everything is a tool, right? And you need to have the skill to use it the right way. And whether an entrepreneur wants to use social media or not is really up to them. And it's not a must-have strategy, right? You can also do other kinds of marketing strategies not using social media. So I don't know. It depends. It depends on the person. You can give me a use case and I can tell you more concretely.
Let's just say Instagram, for example. Yeah.
Okay.
And? And then basically let's say right now I recently started an e-commerce store.
Okay.
Which is trying to promote sleep masks as a way to help people to improve the sleep, and I'm trying to leverage Instagram as a main channel to try to grow my audience base. Then what will be your advice to that?
Well, this is your own personal branding?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm assuming you have limited resources?
Yeah.
Right. And are you a marketing person?
No, I have no background or experience in marketing before. So.
Right. So I guess the easiest thing is talk to a marketing person, because it's a skill, right? If you're not from marketing and you want to do marketing, then it's okay, you can ask ChatGPT about it.
Yeah.
That would be a cheaper way to do it. But then still, that's why there's specialists, right? So they can tell you based on your product. Based on their understanding of the platforms, in this case Instagram, maybe they can give some advice on what you can try to do, right? But it's never guaranteed. So being open-minded and trying different strategies on different platforms. Maybe Instagram is not the thing that you need to do. Maybe it's something else.
Yeah.
Right. But again, it's okay, you got to just try it anyways.
Yeah.
I would encourage you to check out this Instagram account, which I love. It's called LC Sign.
LC Sign.
Have you heard of them?
No. Send it to me.
Okay. The guy who has the account has a manufacturing company in China that sells LED signs. the most boring product you can think of.
LE design.
LED signs,
LED
light
design.
boxes.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Light boxes,
Right.
right? So every day he does an Instagram story or a Reels, and it's fucking hilarious. And I've been following them for like a couple of years, and I see the things that he does. Like it's all about creativity.
Yeah, you just gotta make it fun.
Right, and there's so many geniuses outside, that's doing different things, and you want to talk to people who have experience and who wants, and you want to try different things, but there's no one sentence or one, silver bullet that can solve all the problems of people.
Yeah. I met some people who did something similar during the Nomad Summit recently.
Right.
One strategy they also recommend is by reaching out to like influencers that actually fit the persona and the vibe of your brand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it's influencer marketing, which you either are friends with them or you need to pay them.
The strategy that he recommends is that you can, for example, you can write a personalized message to the influencer either through DM or email, and then maybe send like a free sample size of the sleep mask over and let them try it on.
Yeah. There are these outreach programs. Again, these are typical marketing strategies for companies to do influencer marketing.
Yeah.
So that's, and there's playbooks of these.
Right.
And I would say, sure, go try it, right?
Yeah.
But again, it really depends on what is your product, how much resources you have, and how creative you can be.
Right.
Instagram is a very vast space, right? But if people know, okay, Reels is maybe the medium that gets a little bit more eyeballs, then okay, do Reels, right? That's simple, but that doesn't guarantee ROIs, right? So then it's a whole learning journey of building the audience, doing the right type of content and creating that sales funnel to really convert them into real clients. Right?
Like, so back to co-living, like what kind of like content would you typically post on the business Instagram account?
We're not even good at it. Like, I ask my staff to do content.
Yeah.
For keeping like visibility, but I wouldn't say go to my Instagram account and learn from our content because number one, the products are very different.
Yeah.
Number two, we never intended to use Instagram as a means to sell our products, right? And so I don't think we have a very effective strategy on converting people into customers. So a lot of time when I ask people who booked our place or who came through the doors and wants to be here, I asked them, okay, so how did you know about us, right? Okay, so for us, Google reviews, because we're a physical location and people need to look for co-working spaces. So then we emphasize more on asking people to give us reviews, honest reviews. And the quality of the product speaks for itself. So then people see the reviews, they say, okay, I have the need, I'll come in and try it, and they like it, and they start telling people about it, right? And so we focus more on perfecting the product itself.
Okay.
Because we don't have a lot of competitors in Chiang Mai, to be honest. And again, it's a unique product, so to a point where people who travel, nomads will say, hey, where are you going next? And it's like, oh, Chiang Mai. It's like, yo, you got to check out Alt. It's awesome. It's amazing. And then people will be like, okay. And then they come here and I'm like, hey, how did you know about us? It's like a friend of mine, or a dude that we met in Bali, and he or she is telling me that I got to check out your space, so I booked a room here.
Right. Yeah. So for you guys, it's like the word of mouth, like organic marketing has been like the most effective channel, would you say?
Yep.
In terms of conversion.
Yep.
Can you share like a memorable story or piece of feedback from a resident that reaffirmed why you started, this co-living space in the first place?
so many.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, I can. Maybe you can share some.
Literally, I was working here yesterday in this room.
Yeah.
This is a meeting room, and there's glass doors looking outside. I was sitting, my back was facing, so I wasn't even paying attention to anyone. And this guy, he's based here, and he used to be a co-working member, and you know, he was gone for a while, and then he just came back, and so he just tapped on my shoulder while I was working. I was like, "Hey, John, I need to tell you something." I was like, "Yeah, what's up?" And he's like, "I went to Alt Chiang River that one day, and it was epic. Like, I want to tell you, like, this is like the best co-working place I've ever been in my life. Like, you've done something amazing here. Like, congrats. You know, I'm going to tell my friends about this."
Anything specific?
And I asked him, like, "Hey, yeah, what do you like about it?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, just everything, like the vibe, you know, the space, like, you know, the furniture's, you know." But again, like, it's not, like here, the user experience is not a specific thing that we do right. It's everything accumulatively.
Okay.
Right. So from the ergonomic chairs to, you know, the design to, you know, you walk in and people are like seriously focusing on their work, and then we have tea breaks so that people can, you know, we give them free snacks for people to come just take a break and chat, to, you know, everything. Right. So it's a general feeling of, oh my God, this place is amazing, right? But again, it's very different from product to product, right? So we're creating a user experience that's super unique for our segment. Yeah. And yeah.
And would it be possible for you to pinpoint like what's the key to like creating, you know, such a community, like, you know, based environment that's so key to the success that you just mentioned?
I think we try really hard to walk the talk.
Yeah.
When we say we are community focused, we really make sure everything is community focused. From listening to feedback to engaging with people, being available when they need help or when they have something that they want to give us feedback. I mean, even as simple as the ergonomic chairs outside. This is the third iteration of the chairs.
Oh.
Okay? So the first batch was shitty. People came in, it looked fine until you sit on it for more than a few months and they start breaking down and they're like, "John, your chairs are not great." And I'm like, "Oh shit, sorry." So then we tried a second one, and the second one was more expensive and better, what we thought, and it wasn't. And we're like, fuck. You know, I was so angry, right? But then it's like, okay, what are you gonna do? Like, you can either don't care, right? Because you can go the cheap way of just like, "Hey, you get ergonomic chairs. We told you we have ergonomic chairs, right? So stop complaining." Yeah. Or, okay, they're not happy about it, right? So they're giving feedback and they're listening and you're doing something about it. So like, okay, this is the third iteration of it, right? It's 3 times the price of the first version of the chairs, but people love it. It doesn't break, and I think we got it right, right? But that's just the chairs, and there's what, 100 items here.
Yeah.
You know, from the coffee shop, coffee beans to, I don't know, like the price points or branding. You know, like our designer friends were like, "Hey, John, your website's not great."
Yeah.
Because we have a very like outspoken, honest, like we try to be transparent with the things we do, and the good thing about it is the users are also very honest about their opinion on us, so they would feel comfortable to come to us and say, "Hey, you suck at this," or "I think you can do better at this," and then we're taking it in and be like, "Okay, yeah, let's be better. Let's be better." Right?
Yeah.
So
paying good attention to detail and trying to do your best to deliver the next level customer experience.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But how do you manage like all the expectations though? Like then like.
Well, you have to identify what are the reasonable ones and what are the unreasonable ones, right? So, because you're always going to have a couple, you know, weirdos coming and say, "I think you can do this thing," right?
What are some of the unreasonable feedback or expectations?
Like, some people
Curious.
complain about the place being too quiet because they like to be chatty.
What?
Yeah, for real. It's like they said, oh, I was in Bali. I was at this co-working space. Everyone's like chatting and having a great time. Like,
Right.
your place is so serious.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, it's a different vibe.
People want to
people
focus
wanna
on their work, right?
And I want to create a product, like a productive environment. So if you want to chat, you can go to a coffee shop,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Yeah.
because you can't make everyone happy,
Yeah. Exactly. Right.
right?
Right.
Or someone literally just gave us a 1-star review.
I saw that the other day.
Right.
Yeah, on your Instagram
And
story.
I was like, it's too crowded. It's the prices are crazy, and there's no free coffee. Right. Okay. So it's peak season. I don't think I can make the place less crowded. Although when we say crowded, it's not even like a market. It's just seats are occupied. Right. Prices are crazy. No, it's not. It's the same prices everywhere you go. You know, that has a quality, you know, environment.
And people are quiet too. They are not actually bothering
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
right?
Like, we're not yelling here, right?
Right.
And then, no free coffee. Well, should I give you the whole thing for free?
Mhm.
Right. So then you have these people throwing feedback at you, like, okay, this is a troll.
Yeah.
Right? So, okay, fuck off. Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, it doesn't take a, you know, you don't have to be so smart to understand these things, but I guess, you know, there's so many things throwing at you on a day-to-day basis, and you just kind of have to sort them out. You know?
Right.
Whose opinion is more valuable to your business?
Right.
Whereas there's a bunch of randos.
Yeah.
That's just, they just like to express themselves.
You have to tune out the noise and
Right,
focus
it's like,
on what is
okay,
really
right.
matter.
So you're probably not our target audience anyway, so I don't care.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, I don't say it out in front of people, but you have to have that discernment to understand what's usable data and what's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So you're managing a business.
Yes.
Also have a family, have kids as well, and yeah, you're dealing with so much expectations and feedback from different customers. Like, how do you avoid burnout and to stay productive?
I guess we also had this conversation during Nomad Summit.
Yeah.
But everyone has a different tolerance in terms of how much they can take in.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to have a higher tolerance than most people, I noticed.
Mm.
Maybe it's because I spent more years really grinding and, you know, testing my limits and all that. But the reality is, you know, there's also personal life. There is a bottom line, or there is a threshold of you know, of things that you shouldn't go over.
Mm.
And I think the more you try, the more you know that line. So yeah, I'm all for pushing, you know, the boundaries, but not going over means sometimes saying no.
Yeah, that's so important.
Yeah, right, and it's not easy for me even, and I'm not great at it, I will admit. And I won't say I'm very balanced in my personal and business life. And it's a learning, right? Because sometimes, I mean, most of the times I'm more business focused, and then, you know, I sacrifice personal time, and then relationship becomes problematic, right?
Yeah.
With anyone, you know. So, you know, being aware of it, I guess it's important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
self-awareness and saying no to invitations or, like, you know, opportunities that might not suit your priorities.
Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm. Like, you touched upon a bit earlier about, like, you know, establishing like a routine and some habits help you to, like, establish some sort of consistency that's so key to you, like managing your own business. Like, what are some of your personal routines or habits that you find effective? Yeah.
I'm not a very disciplined person.
Mm.
So I have routines, and I don't think this is something a lot of people can reference to, but staying healthy, doing exercise. I try to do at least 2 to 3 times. I run, so
A day or a week?
no, a week.
A week.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we have a nice bath. We have a sauna and a cold plunge machine here, so I try to do it at least a couple times a week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And routines. I mean, my routine is making sure I don't work on Saturdays and Sundays.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, so many entrepreneurs, like, they will like abide by like the 7-day work week, right? Yeah. Try to get things done.
Yeah, we don't do that here.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Right.
At least I try not to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what else? I don't know. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm not a routines person, so yeah.
Yeah, but I think you touch upon like two very important concepts, which is like saying no to things that not suit your priorities, and also secondly is like knowing how to rest as well. I think that's
Yeah. Or not FOMOing, right?
important. Fear of missing out. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
For sure.
there's always, this is a good opportunity. I should take it.
You say you're not a very self-disciplined person, but that is actually discipline of that.
I think it's awareness because
Yeah.
I've done, like, again, I'm older,
Yeah.
right? So I've failed more times
Right.
than most people younger
Mm-hmm.
because I'm trying a lot of things,
Uh-huh.
right? So then I know what is that point where I say no or enough or, later,
Right.
right? So it comes with experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so what's next for Alt Co-living? So do you see expanding to other cities or evolving into new concepts anytime soon? Or?
So I really want to dig deeper into understanding the community needs and creating a more wholesome experience for people who walk through here and, wanting to engage more. So instead of opening a lot of alt and all over the world, I think I want to more go deeper, looking at Chiang Mai and building that ecosystem for founders, for entrepreneurs, for digital nomads, remote workers.
Mm-hmm.
And right now we're on the path of creating accelerator programs, mentorship programs,
Nice.
talking to VCs and seeing how those elements can complement, what we have here as a space provider.
Vertical integration, yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Nice.
Also, I think the first two the alt brand itself is more catered to a younger crowd, digital nomads. But in the co-living spaces or world, there are different communities that we can also look into and say, hey, does it make sense to create a space designed and built for a specific niche?
What would be those new niches be?
For example, what they call senior co-living or active co-living. But these are not elderly homes, right? These are 50 to 70s, healthy individuals.
Right.
And they might also be lonely, right? And they might also appreciate, communal living, right? And we have some experience in that. So maybe we want to look into that and say, hey, is there an opportunity in the active co-living space? So those are the questions we're asking and exploring.
Exciting. And it also makes a lot of sense as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So reflecting back on your journey, what has been the most rewarding part so far, and how do you hope to be remembered as an entrepreneur or as like a founder of Alt Co-living?
I don't think about how to be remembered. That's for people to decide when I die. But I mean, I'm not a person who wants to create my own legacy of something like that. But I do enjoy the moments when I see, the community members really enjoying themselves, talking to each other, building relationships, whether it is, becoming, like a romantic partners or they found their co-founders here, or they have good friendships that it's built here, and they ventured out, and they still kept those relationships and continued to travel together, hang out, become friends.
That's awesome.
Right? So I really...
Any stories that you can share? Like, after they leave Elko Living, they reach out to you and...
I got invited to an Indian wedding in India.
When was that?
In 3 weeks.
So you're going there in 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Oh.
So a couple here, they've already a couple, but
right.
While they're staying here, the guy proposed, not in Alt, but in Bangkok. that would be insane. But anyway, yeah. So they sent me a wedding invitation, and I haven't been to India, and I haven't been to an Indian wedding.
That's
I'm
awesome.
Like, awesome. I'll go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So me and my wife were looking forward to go to India. Attending a very traditional Indian wedding for 4 days. Going to get pissed drunk and have a lot of fun.
Ooh.
All because of Alt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dogs are connecting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is one like unforgettable experience, like work or travel related, that shape your perspective on life and work?
So many, man. Like so okay, this is, I guess, I don't know, more relatable to Asians. But I remember going to Turkey for the first time, and growing up in Hong Kong, we don't know anything about Turkey, or I didn't pay attention to what is the country like, and it's a Muslim country. It's very different from my own culture, and I don't know anything there. I don't know anyone there, so I'm going into Istanbul. Like, okay, gotta be careful. Like, there's a lot of scammers here, right? Or
that's a very Asian Hong Kong mindset.
Yeah,
going to everywhere. Like, people are trying to scam you, and like don't try anything too risky.
And I'm a seasoned traveler, right? I mean, this is 10 years ago, right? Like, or 8 years ago. Yeah. But still, I traveled, a lot, and but Turkey is it's not even that. It's not even. I've been to Kenya, and that was also crazy. But and this is 15, 20 years ago, so it's a very different Kenya now. But again, there's these preconceived ideas about the place or the people, and you go there, it's like, what was I thinking? Like, people are so nice, the food is amazing. You go to a mosque, like, people are telling you things, and it's super chill.
Yeah.
Right? And yeah, there's scammers, but you can tell the signs, so you avoid them. But the experience was so cool, and I'm like, I was a dum-dum. Like, I was told to believe in these things. Like, just like the Thailand, news being wrapped into the whole scam, operation in Cambodia and Myanmar.
Yeah.
And all the Chinese folks or people from Hong Kong, like, so worried and asking me, like, is it safe to travel to Thailand?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but the chances of you being targeted and being shipped to these places because you want to travel to Thailand is
infinitesimal.
Yeah, it's like, it's near zero.
Yeah.
Unless you believe in people offering you large sums of money that you're not,
you believe in the scam call.
Right, or you're talking to strangers that, they're really good at it.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Recently I had dinner with some friends I just met.
Mm-hmm.
One of the guys told me that the scam calls actually make up 50% of the Cambodia GDP. Do you know that?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Like, there's tens of thousands of people being scammed. But again, like, it's all comparative, right? Like,
yeah.
Tens of thousands of people sound like a large number, but there's like, 20 billion Chinese people in the world?
Yeah.
Right? So, okay, what's the percentage point of that? Right? And you have to kind of fit a profile to be scammed.
Yeah, just practice common sense and
right.
be mindful.
And so, okay, should you just outright avoid Thailand as a traveler?
Yeah.
Right. Well,
just because of one or two news.
Yeah, but
outbreak.
then people are like, oh, you want to play it safe. Sure, you can play it safe, but if you play everything safe, then
you miss out on the what if, right?
That's my philosophy of life.
Right.
But that's my opinion, right?
Yeah.
Not everyone agrees to that, and that's fine. Yeah.
It's awesome. Yeah. It's been really nice talking to you today, John.
Okay.
It's a very honest, authentic, straightforward feedback, like interview, and then you share a lot of like good insights on social media, content creation, your journey from quitting the corporate lifestyle to embracing digital nomad lifestyle, the importance of paying like a good attention to detail and delivering the next level customer service, and how important and that is to like establishing like the community environment here at our co-living, and some of the stories and moments that you share about like the feedback you got from your customers have been fascinating. So I'm pretty sure like the audience can get a lot out of it, the conversation. Yeah, thank you so much.
Come check out Alt.
Yeah, come check out Alt. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks,
yeah.
Dave.
Thank you.